to produce their ID cards when they pass screening points to enter the ceremonial ground. Okay.
This government spokesman said members of the media will not be treated differently from the public. They will be required to produce their ID cards when they pass screening points to enter the ceremonial ground.
Right, very good. They will be required to produce their ID cards when they pass screening points to enter the ceremonial ground. Okay.
The government spokesman said members of the media will not be treated different from the public. They will be required to produce their ID card when they pass screening points to enter the ceremony or ground.
To enter the ceremonial ground. So, the government spokesman, the person speaking for the government on a certain situation. In this case, the spokesman is speaking about the ceremonies to be conducted next week. He is representing all the government and speaking as one person for the government spokesman. Could be the spokeswoman, it could be a spokesperson. But he's speaking for the government. And he said, members of the media,
Newspaper.
television, radio, newspapers, magazines, you name it, internet news, whatever. The media, the people who gather the news all around, whatever it happens to be. And of course, members of the media will be attending this national event. It's for all of Thailand, really, not just a few people. So the media, but they will not be treated differently. There's no special treatment for the media. No. Everybody goes through the same procedure. They will not be treated in another way, in some other fashion. No. They will not be treated differently from the public. We're the public.
The participants.
Well, from the public. Anybody, the public, the people. In this case, all the participants. It could be a couple 100,000. The public. They won't be treated differently than anybody else. And they will be required. It will be necessary. It will be required. Required to produce their ID cards. What does it mean to produce the ID card? Yeah, you've got to reach in, pull out.
I haven't.
Okay. Produce their ID card. Would you please produce your ID card? Yes, sir, right here. Okay, go ahead. Produce their ID cards when they pass screening points. What is a screening point?
Safety area.
What?
Safety area.
Safety area. Screening point. When you go to the airport to get on a plane. Safety area? No, screening point.
Check your body.
Yeah. Yeah, a screening point. It is a checkpoint. I don't know exactly what kind of checkpoints they're going to have, but they may make you walk through a metal detector. a metal detector. Walk through, guy, look good, I don't know how much they're going to do, but that when you go to the screening point, the point where they're saying, okay, whoops, stop, hold it, what do you, let me see your ID. My ID, Thai citizen, okay, all right, go through. When they reach the screening point to enter the ceremonial ground. The ceremonial ground. The place, the ground, where the ceremony will be conducted out by the Royal Palace. And all the area will be the ceremonial ground. Screening point. Metal detectors may be in place. So that if you have metal things in your pocket or something, it could trigger off a complete search. Pat down. Pat down. Boop, 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 boop. Pat down. Screening point, ceremonial ground, different from the public, will not be treated differently from the public. Everybody gets the same treatment. No special treatment for media or anybody else. Everybody, card, screening point. The spokesman speaking for the government, the representative of the government making an announcement. He is the spokesman. Any other questions about this?
Social media is included TV, newspaper, everything, but no, they don't have to no S.
No, well, no, actually, it comes from medium, and then the plural is media.
Yeah.
Oh.
It goes back to like, you have the public, let's say the public, and then you have the government. And the medium, or the media, are the people, in a sense, in the middle, who find out what the government is doing and tell the people. They are like the middle person, medium, the middle, in the middle. The public, the government, and whatever. And so what is the government doing? The media finds out they're doing this, and then it writes it all up and shows it to the public, the medium, the in-between people, in a sense. So the media will not be treated differently from the public, but it is not medias, no. Media is the plural.
So it never have S.
Medias,
Just media also.
except in this classroom. People ask the question.
Anywhere when you see media, no
She
S.
likes the complicated.
Complicated, yeah. No, it's just media, that is the plural. It's not medias, it's just the media.
Medium.
Teacher screening points in order to protect someone have a strange something to.
Well, right, a screening point is to make sure that you do not enter into the airport in the sense of going on your airplane with things in your pocket or in your purse or in your hand carry that aren't supposed to be on the plane. A gun,
Protect.
a knife, some device that you could,
Safety first.
safety first, so they screen you.
Of your body.
Yeah.
Of your body.
And you put your carry-on on the trays, and then they go in and they are inspected by the X-ray machine. So that you are, in a sense, X-rayed, and the things that you put on, they're taking on the plane are X-rayed as well. So that they know exactly what you're taking, and there's nothing dangerous being taken on board.
Teacher,
So,
they will be required. Who required? They, what is mean
the
they?
government spokesman said the media will not be treated differently. They will be required. The media will be required required to produce the ID, the Thai ID.
They
form.
mean media.
The media will be, like everybody else, will be required. If you're going into the ceremonial ground, you will be required to present your ID.
Okay.
Medium, media, spokesman required, screening points, ceremonial ground, treated differently.
Excuse me, I would like to know another word, the plural media of the medium. Another word.
Another
Yes.
word, the government spokesman said members of the, and you want another word for media.
Media is plural of medium, and another word.
Yeah, you could say members of the press, or members of the press. That goes way back in time to the printing press that printed up the newspapers and things like that. You had to have a printing press in order to print the newspaper.
I
So,
think the
or the
newspaper-
press corps. The press corps. Government spokesman said members of the press corps. That would be all the people created with, connected to the news media. A corps. You have a corps like an army corps, but this would be the press corps. They just take the word corps. And it would be TV, radio, newspapers, magazines, internet news, whatever. All members of the press corps, the media.
Condominium. I think condo. Condo is plural. No.
Condominium
Condominium. Condo is plural.
is plural?
Yeah.
No.
No.
A condo Minium is let's like an apartment owned by somebody in a building of many apartments or condominiums. It is like each apartment is owned by a certain person, not rented, owned by a certain person. Condo together, owners together in one big building. A condo is just basically a slang term for condominium. It just drops off the end. And so I just bought a condo in Pattaya. I just bought a condominium in Pattaya. But to make it short, to make it easy to everybody, nobody uses the word condominium. They just say, I'm buying a condo. A condo is a condominium. Many, I'm buying 3 condos.
No.
That's the plural, 3 condos. But most people are buying 1 condo. Condominium is the long term. If they were writing that in the headline, it wouldn't be condominium, it would be condo. Condo bought by Prince, let's say. Not condominium purchased by the Prince, no. Condo bought by Prince, or whatever. Condo, condominium, and more than 1, condos, or condominiums.
Okay.
But condos, just a short slang, almost like a slang term for condominium.
Okay, thank you.
Any other questions about media, press corps, all interchangeable? Public, screening points, ceremonial ground.
Ceremonial.
The ground where the ceremonies regarding the cremation will be held. The ceremonial grounds.
A limit area.
Yeah, it would be a certain area. It could be very big, depending on the size, et cetera, of the ceremony. And I have a feeling that the ceremonial grounds for this will be quite large. Where if it was just it's a small family or something, it might be just something like that. But I think in this case, with all the people that are expected to attend, it will be a large ceremonial ground.
Specific and limits. Ground.
Any other questions about those words?
The last question for this year.
Yeah, right. One more question. That's it. No, you can ask more than one.
Require and qualify. This is the same meaning.
They will be required.
Require and qualify.
Qualified will be required.
Qualified. Oh, is qualified the same as required? No.
Require.
Qualified?
Qualified.
No.
Qualified means that you have the necessary background, the necessary licenses, let's say, or whatever, to be, let's say, a professor at the university. Maybe you have to have a college degree. Maybe you have to have a master's degree. Maybe you have to have a doctor's degree. I don't know. But there are certain qualifications necessary to be a qualified professor. A qualified professor. There are certain requirements that you have to have to be a but in this case, they will be required to produce. It is not the same as qualified to produce. You can, requirements and qualifications can almost be the same if you're talking about somebody's background in qualifying for a job. If you want this job, you have to have the following qualifications. The following qualifications are required for this position. You have to have a doctor's degree. You have to have 10 years experience. You have to have taught in 3 major universities. These are all requirements that you have to have in order to qualify. In that case, you can bounce the words back and forth pretty much. But in this particular sentence, they will be required. It is necessary to produce. Not qualified. No, they're all qualified. You could say they're all media, press corps. They're all qualified. But they still have to produce the ID. That is necessary, required. But you can alternate it in some ways. Qualifications for the job, requirements for the job. Pretty much, you can alter
To
it.
produce. One word requires to produce by an substance.
Why produce?
Yes.
Well, or another word?
Yes. To produce. Show.
Yeah, in other words, they just say produce. They could say, you're required to show your ID. Oh,
Why?
You're
Why it's like the produce by.
why produce?
Oh.
The writer said, produce your ID. He could have said, required to show their ID. You could do it either way. Present, show, produce.
To
All.
produce.
All three, in this case, all 3 are the same. You're required to present your ID. You're required to produce your ID. And you're required to show your ID.
Or present, can use the present.
Present,
Okay.
show, produce,
Present.
whatever it takes to get you to show your ID. But why did they pick this word? Why not? They could have picked another word, sure, but he picked this one. The idea is exactly the same. Produce your ID. Yes, sir. Show me your ID. Yes, sir.
This is it's like our formal modern show. Formal.
Well, yeah, but if I wrote that required to show their ID. Everybody would know exactly what I'm talking about.
Yeah.
Well, formal, not formal, blah, blah, blah. It doesn't make that big a deal.
Not complicated.
Yeah, right, exactly, to make it more complicated. Produce, show, present, let me see your ID. That's the same thing. If you're trying to get into a place and you're under the age, and the doorman may say, let me see your ID. Produce, show, present, let me see. Let me see. You mean produce? Show? Present? Let me see. Yeah, exactly.
Please produce your ID card when you want to come walk in my house.
Right, yeah, right, produce your ID. But it can be any way.
Okay.
Okay, that's it, there we go.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Teacher,
Okay.
thank you very much for your lesson.
Right up. Produce,
Very
oh, okay, there we go.
straight.
My eraser, my eraser.
You
Thank you.
have a lot of lessons.